Hello fellow Star Citizens, this is Taras here again, and I'm here today to talk about the Origin 315P Explorer ship. The 315P is part of Origin's 300 series of ships, which includes the 300i luxury touring ship, the 325 interdiction light fighter ship, and the 350R racing variant. And like all ships in the Origin range, the Origin 315P shares the same sleek, elegant lines and beautifully furnished interior that the other ships in the Origin series is known for. The 315P comes equipped with a nice bed, a wardrobe right at the back, and a kitchenette for you to cook your own meals on your long journeys. As for weaponry, the 315 has two size 3 gun hardpoints and a pair of missile racks that can hold a single size 2 missile each. And for protection, it carries two size 1 shield generators. The ship handles relatively well for a small ship, but it's certainly no Gladius or Arrow in terms of its maneuverability. But on the other hand, it certainly is much better in terms of handling than the Aurora, especially in the speed. The 315P sits in the port space. It is the smallest soloable ship in the game that has a full living bed, port and living quarters, decent cargo space, and I would say average dogfighting capabilities. It is essentially a good step up from the Aegis Titan Avenger if you want to go up to something in between that and the Cutlass Black. One thing to note, the 315P comes with a tractor beam, which can be very useful once the cargo refractor function is rolled out in Star Citizen. But today's video is not going to be a ship review. Sure, I started off by giving an overview of the 315P and what it does, but certainly I think there are many YouTubers out there that do a far better job of reviewing Star Citizen ships than I can, so I leave that job to them. Before that out of the way, let me just get into today's video. So here I am in the PTU, trying to build up reputation by doing bunker missions so that I can try out some of the newer things that the new patch promises to do. And you know how often you approach bunkers with anticipation of laser fire? Well, in this case, I got really up close to the bunker, and I thought for a moment that I was actually safe. So I was actually preparing to land the 315 when suddenly the restricted area sign pops up and the turrets start firing. Being this close and with little space to run away from, I took quite a few hits. But I tried to land below the arc of fire of the turrets, but not before they took out half of the ship.
Engines active.
So I managed to land the ship safely, but take a look at the damage that was done. Half the ship got blown up. And I thought to myself, I was thinking to myself, that's it. I have landed, I'm going to finish the bunker mission, but there's a chance that this ship is unflyable, it's unable to make it back to any kind of landing facility, and I will probably just have to either abandon it or eject and or do a backspace and respawn at the nearest medical facility. So, knowing that there's only one way to go, I decided to push forth with the bunker mission. And because this was the PTU, I didn't have much gear accumulated with me, and all I had on right now was basically light armor, and I think I was only equipped with just a pistol. But oh well, there are people who go into bunkers and clear them with just a flight suit and their bare hands, so why not? So and anyway, I'm not even sure whether I will take it home, so might as well just finish this, score the reputation, get some points, and then worry about going home later. As one of the starting missions, this mission was relatively simple. I just had to go there and neutralize a known or high level target, as well as his superior escorts. There were no friendlies, so it's one of the easier missions if you ask me. But this was of course a stepping stone to the other bigger missions. So as I had mentioned earlier, all I had was my pistol, and I had to slowly move on through the bunker, and by killing some of the baddies, I slowly start to equip myself with better and better gear. And so, to cut long story short, one FS9, a sniper rifle, and some heavy armor later, I decided to leave the bunker and onwards to the toughest part of this mission. So while the bunker was relatively easy, yes, I think this was a test server. There was a lot of rubber banding, a lot of lag, but I eventually managed to clear it, but also not without some little misadventures besides. But that's a story for another day. So here I am, getting ready to go back into what I thought was actually going to be the toughest part of this mission, and that is to fly my heavily damaged 315P back home. It was already twilight, start of probably a very early dawn, and you could see the ship's silhouette against the skyline. So I boarded the ship, loot and all. I didn't even bother to try and drag and drop my weapons into the ship's inventory, because knowing full well that if I do crash, it would have made no difference whether I was carrying in person, on person, or in the ship's inventory anyway. So here I am, decided to start the ship up. The engines turned on fine, although it was quite clear from HUD that I've actually lost one M5A laser cannon already. And yeah, so I decided to lift off. And surprisingly, the ship could fly. But my sense of relief did not last, because those darn turrets started to fire my ship again. And in my weakened state, there was no way that this ship, this little 315, could take any more damage. So I pointed myself at Microtech and made a beeline towards it. Thankfully, the quantum drive was working, which sometimes can happen if parts of your ship get blown up. I mean, the quantum drive can get blown up as well. And now onwards to the toughest part of the mission. Well, I have gotten the major torque imbalance warnings across my HUD for a number of times already. The ship was actually quite maneuverable in space. So because of my damage state, I decided that I didn't want to risk landing in a planet or even a moon with any sort of gravity. I decided to head towards Fortress, which was the closest space station to where I was. And of course, that's when I realized I had a bit of a problem. That is, the ship goes into a rightward speed every time I decelerate. So this was going to be tricky, and I just had to make sure that I got all the angles correct and that I didn't fire my reverse thrusters.
Please proceed to sign
in any occasion, because firing the reverse thrusters would force me to turn towards the right. Of course, what didn't help was that in the new 3.172 patch, CIG would introduce new hangars to any space stations. In many senses of the word, landing in a hangar, because you are flying into an enclosed space, can be a little tricky than putting your craft down on a pad. But oh well, I decided to go for it anyway. So here I am approaching one of the new hangars for small ships that they've installed in most of the space stations, which in general is actually a welcome development. And I'm not sure if it showed earlier, but the space stations now are ringed by lights, so it will be actually easier for pilots to spot where the space stations are, especially when the space stations are on the dark side, or they are in the dark because they've been covered by the shadow of the planet or moon that they're orbiting. So here I am trying to make a landing, and just when I thought everything was going very smoothly, my reverse thrusters fired, causing my ship to go into a small speed inside the hangar. I managed to get it under control and decided to just set my ship down as soon as I could once I cleared the hangar bay doors. And thankfully, I made it. So, the Origin 315P. It's one tough little ship, and this is another day in StarCitizen where you never really know what you can expect from what you think would be the most mundane things possible. This is Starus. I see you next time. Have a good day.